were a lawyer making an opening statement in a trial, I could make a case that Pat Freiermuth has continued to be a viable component to this offense. But if you were the other lawyer, you'd have a chance to mop me up. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also cover two other teams in town, the Penguins and Pirates, and offer daily shots of those as well. Freiermuth's got numbers. He's got numbers that I would enter into that argument. I would say, listen, teams played 10 games. He's got 31 catches on 36 targets, which, by the way, is a really nice ratio unto itself. For 295 yards, that's a 9.5 average catch. He's got 151 yards after the catch. George Pickens has 158, just 7 more. 16 of his catches have resulted in first downs. Nice year, right? Way to go, Muth. Big expectations in the summer. Big delivery in season. You're not buying any of this, are you? Okay, good. Because I was kind of hoping that you watch the games too, you know? And when you see that he's not getting utilized anywhere near the way he could, when you see on Sunday something that was probably blurred out for a lot of people by the result, the riveting result of that game, Freiermuth was on the field with the offense for 45 snaps. That's 58% of all of the offensive snaps. Darnell Washington, the other tight end, also was out there for 45 snaps. Freiermuth was targeted twice, caught both of them. Washington was targeted 4 times. Once in the end zone on that ill-fated rainbow from Russell Wilson that Washington didn't leap for, and it landed in Baltimore's arms. So not only is Freiermuth not being targeted the way anyone had anticipated entering this season, he's also not even being utilized, meaning he's not even on the field. Now, what I've been told, though no one has commented on this publicly, is that Freiermuth's blocking has not met the coaching staff's expectations. That's why you've seen not only Washington, who his blocking just grades through the roof, but you've also seen Michael Pruitt, who's got a similar reputation. Not so much through the roof, but he's traditionally been a blocking tight end wherever he's been. So what you're actually seeing here in turn is yet another example of how your blocking is going to be what determines whether or not you're on the field, unless you're Pickens because of his extraordinary talent, and even then, George is admonished when he doesn't block. Now, I've got a lot of respect for the approach that prioritizes blocking. If you're going to be an offense that's built on the running game and toughness and grinding it out and chewing up the clock, and a lot of the things that the Steelers did well, to be honest with you, on Sunday, despite not getting a touchdown, then you can't afford to have passengers in the blocking game. That's why Van Jefferson gets out there. Van's not a great blocker, but he's a willing blocker. So I'll tip my cap to 8-2 and all the winning stuff that the Steelers have produced, including whatever amount of it's resulted from this attitude on offense. Great. Way to go. But you still need Freiermuth. You can't just dismiss him. You can't bury him somewhere on the sideline. This is a team, as you and I are speaking right now, that does not have a WR2. Yes, Mike Tomlin said yesterday he likes the way Mike Williams' trajectory is pointing, meaning the way he's showing himself in practice. But that plus Williams having exactly one practice this week, that of course being later today because of the short week, I would be beyond stunned to see him have some significant role Thursday night in Cleveland. which is all the more reason that you need Freiermuth. Do you really want to spend the game playing against Cleveland's guys up front? Or do you want to be able to throw over their heads a little bit? Do you really want to spend the whole game watching the offensive line get either pushed back or otherwise beaten, especially Broderick Jones at right tackle? Or do you want to just say, hey, we're going to hit some quick darts to easy targets? Well, there's no easier target on the field than the tight ends, plural. And there's no one better on this roster at catching the ball, including this season. Going to repeat this, 31 catches on 36 targets than Freiermuth. Look, I'm surprised by this. I didn't see this coming. I saw with my own eyes all summer long a team that was building up Freiermuth and then paying him long-term multi-gazillion-dollar deal with an aim toward finally utilizing him the way everyone, including Freiermuth himself, had wanted to see him utilized since he was drafted out of Penn State, only for this to happen. And I don't get it. I don't get it. When we come back, J1Q. This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Today's J1Q comes from Sean, who says, DK, I just wanted to hear your opinion on the following. When John Harbaugh decided to run actual plays near the end of the first half and the Steelers got that turnover on Patrick Queen's forced fumble, I said out loud, Harbaugh is the actual version of everything that the Mike Tomlin haters complain about. Terrible at time management, doesn't carry a clipboard or play sheet, has his teams playing down to worse opponents like the Browns and the Raiders, stubbornly sticks to stuff that doesn't work, wastes Hall of Fame talent. It's uncanny. And add to that Harbaugh's trademark, why on earth would you do that moment in every game? And I guess my actual J1Q is Harbaugh the Ravens' real problem against the Steelers? As always, Sean, anytime you condense a team sport thing to a single individual, it's going to fall a little bit flat. He couldn't be the problem. When you see that Lamar Jackson just can't get untracked against Pittsburgh, whereas he can do it against almost everyone else, it's hard to be squarely pointing a finger at somebody else, even the head coach. When I think of what Harbaugh has achieved in Baltimore, I don't think of excellence in game management. So if you want to talk about another trait that he and Tomlin might have in common, Tomlin's never been known for the latter. He just hasn't been. Sometimes that's unfair, but sometimes it is. When I think of Harbaugh and the Ravens, I think of an organization that's built itself, and going back to when Ozzie Newsome was the GM and Brian Billick was the head coach, they've tried to become the Steelers. They've tried to model a lot of what they do culturally and otherwise after the Steelers. I've always admired that. You know what they say about flattery being the most sincere form of respect. And it's worked for them. They've won. They've won the big one. And they've continued winning. And they've done it in years where they really shouldn't have been winning. So that's how I think of Harbaugh. I think of him as the guy who took what Newsome and Billick started and really ran with it in his own vision, but continued to, in fact, run with it. Harbaugh did some lousy things on Sunday. He's done some lousy things in other games over the years. But here are the Ravens again at 7-3 still. They've got a tougher part of their schedule coming up, but you can bet that they'll do well within it. And you can bet that a month from now, when the Steelers and the Ravens meet again in Baltimore, that's another game that's going to be decided by 2 or 3 points. So I'm not sure that I'd be looking at some sort of aha, gotcha thing. Harbaugh's the issue. He's been the issue all along. I don't know that there is an issue. Yeah, the Steelers have taken 8 out of the last 9 meetings, but for the most part, they've been crazy close these games. And part of the reason that they've been that close is that guy has built himself a pretty good thing over there. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget, we've got a double shot show coming up this afternoon. We'll have that to you by 5 p.m. Eastern. And this thing, we're just going to do it again tomorrow.